Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be playing Shopping Maul U.S.A. on easy difficulty. The objective of this map is to survive for 40 levels of incoming units, and aside from that it's your pretty traditional Maul style of gameplay. The race that you pick in this game will have a pretty big impact on your ability to win successfully. Personally, I like to go for Home Depot because they're quite powerful. This game also uses an interest system, which will allow you to get a certain amount of interest at the end of each round. By default, it is 6%, or I think by default it's 4%, then you can improve it to 6, 8, and finally 10%. And our objective there will be to get our interest to a maximum of 10% as soon as possible, so that we can build up as much income as we possibly can. So I'm going to be doing a dual maze with blue. Our objective here is, at the beginning, is just going to be to get our mazes to merge at the top middle, then just convert it into a traditional side-to-side maze. The reason for having two players in the same base is because the red base is quite large, and if you want to maximize the space and have strong towers, you really want two players in here. Honestly, you could even go up to 3 if you wanted to. Yeah, for the first wave, you need like 3 or 4 towers to reliably kill it. The rest of them are really just going to be for getting the maze going. Since I'm red, I get a pretty significant cash bonus over the other players. I got 85 gold there as opposed to 59, 52, and 67. I guess the less kills you get, the more cash bonus you get, based on the fact that teal got the smallest bonus. Now's a good time to upgrade the bank. Personally, I usually don't I don't deposit any money into the bank until I've already upgraded it a couple times. But you can still do it anyway. The only downside is your money will be locked out from you for quite a while. By default, you have a 25-second delay before getting your money back. Since we've upgraded it once, it'll instead be a 20-second delay. But if you need to get a couple of extra towers, that's still really slow. For now though, since I think it'll take another round or two, actually never mind. We had enough money to get another balance upgrade right away. So we're just going to withdraw all by using -WA, and we'll have our money in 20 seconds to get the bank upgrade for the next round. The -AD command will automatically deposit all of my money at the end of each round, so we won't have to ever deposit again, just withdrawal.
Our allies' town is under siege.
If you guys enjoy my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you're interested in playing some games with me, I do a live stream every Saturday, so it's a good opportunity to do so. Be notified for when the streams begin, make sure you have your notifications set to all. The first airwave is level 5. I think it's just every 5 rounds, so you usually want to have some anti-air towers ready by then. Air in this game is quite powerful. Depending on your maze style, it can be more threatening, but yeah, it really just depends. Like for teal, actually, Bank of America is ground only, which means I'm going to need to have some anti-air towers up to cover for teal's leaks. Purple should be able to attack air. He'll probably be able to take care of it pretty easily, and then of course, since blue and I are double basing, all of the units that would go through him will just be fought over here. Withdraw all, take a look at what my balance is, 150. The bank upgrade is 250, and the nail gun is 275. So what we'll probably just have to do here is just expand the maze with part-timers and hope that'll be sufficient. Actually, I do have enough. Okay. Yeah, so with my end of round bonus, it got me to above 270 gold, so I was able to build the nail gun. And it looks like it should finish construction just in time. Usually I like to build the nail gun near the bottom of the maze, since the top will be allocated for actual mazing purposes, and filling your maze with an anti-air only tower in prime damage spots is pretty bad. So as long as this tower can attack the right, we should be fine here, more or less. Okay, looks like we might have 2 or 3 leaks. So that might be like 5. It's hard to tell. Alright. Not great, but considering what would have happened without the tower, the losses really weren't too bad. So let's do one more balance upgrade, and then we'll be good to go for banking.
Insufficient gold.
Take heart, young boy.
And I guess I should complete this tower now. One other trick in this game that you can do to really maximize your build time is you can use your expert to build structures as well. Now, I don't think you can have 2 builders build one structure simultaneously, but you can have 2 builders build 2 different structures, which just means that's an easy way to get 2 towers built at the same time. A little bit tricky though, since the expert doesn't have any useful towers for quite a while, so really you just have to place all your part-timers and then go through and construct them. Looks like we should be fine for this wave. The first boss wave is level 10. So we still have a little bit of time before we get there. For the first boss, if we want to reliably kill it, we'll probably want to have about 1 to 2 forklifts along with a couple of snowblowers. If we don't have that, it's going to be quite difficult. Bosses in this game are really durable. There are a couple of abilities that can help you get around that, such as the last chance ability, which will like triple your tower's damage for 30 seconds, but since it can only be used once, if you're using that on wave 10, the final waves are going to be a lot harder. And every time you kill every single unit on a wave, or in other words, you perfectly clear it, you get 5 lives back. So we should have pretty good odds here of recovering a sizable chunk of our lives. Oops, accidentally closed that off. And in the process of canceling the structure, I lost a little bit of gold due to the cancellation fee, and I couldn't make a new part-timer.
Gladly. Amen. Job done. Job done. Job done.
So when I build my forklift, I'll probably end up putting it right around... Actually, that's strange. Build a flamethrower. The flamethrower used to use the Space Orc model, but it looks like that has since disappeared. Now it's just using the regular Marine, which looks fine, it's just odd. Yeah, so the flamethrower does this pretty good amount of damage, has a solid attack speed. It's a fair amount slower than the part-timer, but it also gets splash. The main reason why I don't bother building the flamethrowers is just for the price. You're better off going with stuff like the forklift. A 737. Well, I have 2 choices here. At the end of this round, I will have enough money to get 2 forklifts, but I could instead immediately start building a forklift and then also incorporate a snowblower, which I'm inclined to say is probably the better choice just because of construction time. So we'll put the snowblower right here at the entrance to the maze. Usually I like to get a lot of snowblowers mixed throughout. Snowblower also just has pretty decent DPS in general. I think it's like 250 for, 1000 DPS for 200 gold, and then you also get frost. So it's just a pretty solid tower. But yeah, in exchange for DPS, the main downside of Home Depot is that all of your towers are fairly low range, so that's something important to keep in mind. And now we will incorporate the forklift over here on the left. Giving up a little interest, but we'll need the construction time. Yeah, and by putting the forklift here on the left, that'll make it so the boss gets hit by the snowblower, gets to the corner, and then that will maximize the forklift's time.
The storm is coming.
There are some more cost-effective towers that you can get later on. So the C4 will give you 6,000 DPS for 1,000 gold, whereas 2 forklifts would only get you about 4,000 DPS for 800 gold, so it's a little bit better. Well, actually, yeah, because it's more like 3,600 DPS.
Take heart.
Okay, a lot of bosses.
They are
Let's
true.
go ahead and use a global slow ability.
Take heart.
Hit one boss down. And by using the global slow then, that also gives our allies extra time to hit the boss as well. Okay, we should definitely be taking out at least 2 of these. Or 3, I mean. But hopefully we can take them all out, and we were successful, which means, yeah, no lives lost, and we got 5 lives back. You also get the special points every time you beat a boss round, so if you just use 1 winter per boss, you can do that throughout the whole game. I think my balance was like 700, so I could get an extra forklift pretty soon. Looks like he already is incorporating one.
My old bones.
Let's double check the airwaves, but more importantly I'm looking for invisible, and it looks like our first invisibility wave is level 18. It's really important to keep in mind, because otherwise your towers won't be able to hit the units, which means you can leak a lot. Okay, with the second forklift up, we should be just fine for this wave. In fact, it looked like we were more or less fine without it.
The storm is coming.
Which means it's a really good time to start stockpiling gold. Right now we're getting 120. If we can somehow spend about 10 more rounds without building anything, that'll probably be enough to max out our interest with the interest cap of 500 gold with a balance of 5,000.
Precisely. They are true.
Yeah, that's easier said than done. Because there'll be another boss wave by the time that happens. We also need at least 1 more nail gun. You can upgrade the nail gun, but I don't really recommend this, since upgrading the nail gun will give you more damage, but what we really needed was more attacks. So if this had like a multi-shot of 2 or 3, we'd be doing well. So yeah, extra nail guns. So we've already filled out pretty much all of the upper area, which means the nail guns that were designed to be out of the way are now once again in the way. So we'll just have to build the maze around this. Let's take a look, see how much space we have. Okay, that's pretty bad. That means there'll be a 1x1 gap here. We could do something like seal that off, wrap them through here, go up to the right. I mean, it's workable, but it's not great.
Precisely. Gladly. They are true. Amen. Ishnu Pora. Precisely.
And yeah, it looks like we'll also need maybe 1 more forklift within the next few waves, just to keep taking out the regular units.
My old bones ache.
Okay, looks like... what is he building here? Another forklift. Great. The purple amount, by the way, represents the total amount of money that that player has spent on towers. So I've spent 1,600, blue has spent 2,000, teal has spent 1,800, and purple has spent 2,000. I guess I can also explain the Bank of America perk. So the Bank of America isn't allowed to use the bank, but in exchange for that, they get, I believe it's something like 5% of the total amount of money in the bank between all players, which means by going up to 5,000, I'm also giving purple a ton of extra money. Let me double check that. Yep, looks like I was right on the money. Only ground, 5% of all banked money, can't deposit money itself. I guess I should... oh, never mind. The person who typed deposit all was purple, not teal. This game also has an Exp System. Personally, I've never gotten the load codes to work, but if you did, having more Exp gives you access to some extra towers, such as the... let's take a look here. So Exp is used for the haystack, fridge, and so on. Some of these are actually pretty good. This is an Area of Effect Frost Tower, which basically every single class will want. And this is... aura damage is pretty mediocre. Bunker has an item attack, whatever that means. Poison is always good. Not sure what resurrection would be. Tentacle. It's just a question mark. And then another area freezer that does damage. That's going to be quite powerful. The hydrant. I 1000 range, 3200 DPS is decent, and it's frost. It really just depends on the cost. This one is 15,000, so if that's anywhere near it, it's not really going to be worth getting. And then EMP, I'm guessing that probably purges nearby incoming units. Otherwise, I'm not really sure why it would be called EMP shock. Hopefully 2 nail guns is enough. At a minimum, I don't think we're losing here, but we might leak a little bit. Yeah, units are at 1,000 health, so it's still a ton of overkill on the damage. Looks like we should be just fine. The extra tower here helps out quite a bit. And the forklifts are able to kill some of these as well. Blue ended up snagging most of the kills with his nail gun that had a higher placement, which is okay, because I'm getting a lot of interest. So, 439. Actually, I think we'll be, at the end of this round, my interest will be maxed out. It's really good. Basically, that means at the end of every single turn from this point onward, I can make a new forklift. Which doesn't necessarily mean that's what we want to do, but it just gives you an idea of how powerful that extra interest is. I'll probably start by... Okay, wave 17. Actually, you know what? Let me do a withdrawal. Never mind, I can wait. Since my withdrawal time is pretty low, I can save it till next round to get the invis detection. Okay, a couple of leaks here. Looks like... Actually, more than a couple. It's like 5-ish? 4? Well, it's kind of the nature of greedy strategies. But it will pay off. And the C4 wasn't done yet, which will add a ton of extra DPS. Okay, time for withdrawing. I'm now up to 5.2 thousand balance, which means my interest is maximized. And we'll immediately be putting some money into the invis detection. Where's my main builder? He has to be somewhere. Oh, there he is. Actually, is this not the invis wave? 18. Oh, okay. Actually, it was 1 round ahead of time, which is okay. So is this one just nothing then?
My old bones.
Guess we can start to build another frost tower. One over here seems pretty good. And we can safely replace this tower since the enemy's already passed it. So I guess this must have been the Windwalk wave. The title for that was not very clear though. Like, it did not imply that this wave had invisibility. Okay, one more frost on the left. Yeah, the goal is just to keep it permafrosted. Let's double check, see if we can build with 2 at the same time. I don't think you can. And you can't.
My old bones ache.
So, in terms of cost effectiveness, the C4 is really solid. Flying pliers are quite good as well for 2,000. And you also have the... Oh, I meant flying claws. Flying pliers are also good. Not quite as cost effective as the flying claws, though. So if I wanted to get the flying claws, I'm about 3 rounds out from getting it. Alternatively, I could just put an extra forklift in here now, which is, I think, what I'll probably end up doing. I tried to mark it. Either one is fine. Keep that reveal up. Reveal has a little bit of overlap time. I think the cooldown is 25 seconds, but the duration is 30, so you can permanently keep the detection up. what would we want to do next? This tower, perhaps? Some of these should be saved because they're just premium damage spots. So a good amount of overlap over here. Install it here. Maybe... yeah, this one seems okay. For the damage tower, I'd probably put it here. So for the frost, putting it somewhere like here or here would be good.
My old bones ache.
Okay, 1500. 1 or so rounds to go until we get the flying claws. That would be the boss wave, though. You have to be really fast on the boss wave. Let me type that as a reminder, actually.
Gladly.
Yeah, the game has, like, boss mazing protection. So if you sell a tower, you can't rebuild it, which sometimes means if you're doing a last-minute upgrade, you just can't build anything, and then your maze is much worse than it otherwise would have been. Like, if we wanted to build, let's just pretend a tower right here and open the entrance, suddenly half the bosses are skipping 3/4 of the way through the maze. I could easily add a bunch of extra towers down here, because I have 60 spare tower supply. The only problem, it just doesn't really do much for us, since the part-timers don't do very much damage. So it would buy us maze time, but not really any relevant maze time. So it's pretty optional. I guess this wave was just nothing. Doesn't seem like it has any abilities. Okay, 7,500. Let me do a withdraw all and try to get him to sell a tower.
Precisely. They are Gush Ahmed.
Actually, what? Oh, did I just sell his tower? Nice. That's actually pretty convenient. Oh, and he made the mistake. Oh, never mind. I guess there is a little bit more leeway on that than I thought. So I guess maybe it's till the bosses enter your region. We'll activate the Global Frost in a moment here. Okay. That gets us 10 seconds of slow time. We're not doing that much damage, and my flying claws aren't going to complete in time, which is unfortunate. I could do another frost in a few seconds here, but I don't think there's too much we can do. I'll do it anyway. There's no point in saving it. On the upside, our power towers are going to be ready for the incoming bosses. So it looks like we'll be leaking these two, and just is what it is. I think bosses do 15 per leak, so we're going to go back down to about 200 here. Yeah. As you can see, though, if our towers were up about 30 seconds earlier, that wave would have been a piece of cake. The bosses just got absolutely shredded.
The Earth Mother is near. Precisely. My old bones ache.
Maybe, actually, this is a pretty good spot to put another frost blower as well. Or a snow blower.
The storm is coming. More gold is required.
Good. There we go. Just got my money. Yeah, let me see. So it looks like these are single target slow towers, which really means, I guess if you had the money, making every single non-primary DPS tower a slow tower would be a pretty good choice. Yeah, it is going to be a premium. We can get like 6 of these, or 4 of these slow towers every round if we wanted to. Let me sell this one. Not a huge fan of the fact that it gives his gold to me, but stealing 10 gold from him is worth the time that it saves.
More gold is required.
And I mean 10's not that much. That's like 2 kills, or what would that be, like 2% of the total amount of money that he'll get from interest. Nothing too significant.
The storm is coming. Job's done.
Yeah, I can put up another anti-air tower.
Precisely.
Maze would... Let me just put down some placeholders so I don't put this in the wrong spot. Okay, that should do. And we can start building these other towers.
Job done. Job done. Job done. Earth Mother. Job done. Hard. Job done.
Okay, so about a round and a half till our next flying pliers, or flying claws. The flying claws have a really short attack range, but they do have a really fast attack speed, which is pretty effective. Yeah, 300 gold to go.
Precisely. They are shush, amen.
And let me just double check. Worst case, I can upgrade one of... Let me make sure this isn't invis somehow. Actually, we still have 2 rounds till the air. I thought it was coming sooner than that. Next invis is the boss. Okay. It doesn't really matter. Once you have the detection, invis is no different than anything else. Shadow. Yeah. Oh, okay. I think Shadow is Windwalk, so you will need invis detection for this wave as well. And I guess for some reason these units are getting extremely laggy. Like, the game's movement speed on these units is as if we had like 700 on the map, but there's only maybe 60 or so? Pretty odd. I always find these towers to be slightly annoying to look at because they do 1-to-1 damage, so it's like, how much are they really doing? And honestly, I have absolutely no idea. I think it's sending out a shockwave that, let's see here, perhaps 200 per hit? Somewhere in that ballpark? Getting some more splash damage might be good. The flying claws are single target. The C4 is single target. Okay, so if we wanted to get some extra good splash damage for ground units, air splash is kind of irrelevant because that's what the nail guns are for. We can go for the toilet bowl. Toilet bowl is 400 range, splash only, decent DPS. So getting like several of them is pretty solid. Placement wise, 400, probably these 3 would be fine. We do still need a good amount of boss DPS, so I'll sell this one and withdraw all. I'm going to put another flying claws right here.
More gold is required. More gold.
Next wave is air.
Town is under siege.
Yeah, I guess why not? We can do one more air tower for good measure. Let's move the expert up here. He can continue building. We'll replace this with a nail gun. And yeah, this is when the expert comes in handy, if you need 2 long towers to be constructed. So we're at level 24, which means we're a little past the halfway point now. Because, yeah, level 40, you win the game, but there are 10 bonus waves as well, and those will determine, well, I think those are just for extra EXP. These are normal armor. Flying claws are chaos damage, which is nice. Snowblower is normal damage, which means it's super effective against these. Every game's a little different, but probably somewhere in the ballpark of 50% extra DPS. And the pierce damage is going to be significantly reduced, which is probably part of the reason why these guys are getting farther than they usually would. Because, yeah, I think pierce is like 30% reduced damage. Okay, so we have plenty of nail guns, plenty of DPS. We're going to be just fine for this wave. See if there's anything notable coming up. Ground, 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 ground. Spell reduction. I actually have no idea what that would do. None of my towers have spells, so I guess nothing. And I'm not sure what panic is. I don't think that's described anywhere. So these guys windwalk. The Bank of America, he should almost certainly have some invis detection by this point, but he's also ground only, so never mind. Let's get that detection going. In fact, that might have been a little high. Hopefully that doesn't matter. This would have been a better spot if we assume they're windwalking. Oh, I was actually wrong on this. These towers had 5,000, not... I thought they were 3. Well, thankfully, the extra nail gun that I got was able to compensate.
Precisely.
Yeah, 30 lives, not bad. We're still maintaining about 200, so...
Gladly. Amen. My old bones ache.
And then there's one more air wave remaining in the game, and for that one we'll definitely have the titanium nail gun, and that will boost the DPS of this by like 10 times. It doesn't increase the attack speed, which is why I didn't bother with it last time, but it turns out we needed it anyway. These guys are normal armor. Once again, having some snowblowers would actually be good for our DPS. Let's get an extra snowblower. 7,000 balance, which means we could get another flying claws right about now. But I think I'll save up for the flying pliers, because the flying pliers have a larger range, which means they get to distribute their greater DPS a little bit farther. And if you look into like the raw numbers, it's not that much less cost effective. Flying claws would give you about 38,000 or so DPS for the cost. This is 32, so it's comparable. What next? Maybe this one becomes...
Take heart, young one.
I do like having these snowblowers, but...
Gladly. Gladly. Precisely.
Okay. Next boss is in 3 waves. We do have a ton of flying claws now. The previous bosses, we had 0 ready in time. This time we will have 4 flying claws. Let's see what he builds. A nail gun. Strange place for it, but oh well. We still have plenty of premium tower slots. Okay. Yeah, okay. We can get some more flying claws. Pretty much anything near a corner is good, so we can do it either on the left or the right. Guess we can place it on the left. Having your damage distributed is also useful for the waves that can skip through your row of towers, so that's nice as well. Okay, 400 gold to go for the next flying claws. That'll definitely be done in time. I'm guessing he's saving up, but just to reiterate...
The storm is coming. My old bones ache.
Flying pliers, I believe, are also chaos damage, so you don't need to worry about typing. It's true, it does take a while, but I probably will do it on like round 32. Let's see, when was the next Invis wave, aside from the boss? 33? Okay. I like the idea of this spot. But now that I think about it, it might not be able to attack the lower row, which would mean it's not going to be quite as effective as it otherwise could be. So we will put the flying... Here would be pretty good, here's pretty good. They're all pretty similar. We can do...
Gladly.
We can do this spot. That's fine.
Precisely. Storm's coming.
Looks like this is where he is putting the flying pliers. Yeah, so he just lost like 1,000 gold there. But I'm not sure if that could have been salvaged, so. We had actually run the numbers on that. We have some spare gold. I think the previous test was somewhere in that ballpark, because we built a part timer, and then afterwards we didn't have enough to finish it. Just for fun here. Once all these units are dead, well, the wave will probably end, and that's going to make this complicated. Oh wait, here's what we can do. We place the part timer, cancel it. Okay, so we lost 2 gold from that, which would mean, well, 10% is 1.4, 20% is 2.8. So I guess it could be 20% rounded down. Either that or it's about 15%. Either way, our ballpark there was within the realm of reason. Get the detection going. Looks like his detection is passive. Bank of America's detection is passive, so I'm the only one who has to spam reveal. There is some bonus to that though, because technically, if for some reason you just really wanted to save some money throughout all the players, if you had like 3 Home Depot, you could probably skip reveal on the rest. Do we need a winter for this? I think we're fine. The flying pliers should take care of this one. A few more bosses, but they're coming in damaged, so once again we should be fine. Okay, we got a lever here. It's unfortunate because that means none of his maze will actually be... Well, all of it will disappear and we get his money, but since we've already maximized our interest, yeah, it's just pure downside, really. And then again, it would be amusing if a single flying pliers was more damage than his whole maze, thus meaning getting rid of his entire maze for flying pliers would be more effective. But I doubt that's the case. That'd be hard to believe. So, I guess, yeah, I have 13,000 gold in the bank. Which, if that's accurate, means I have as much in the bank as I've invested in towers. Pretty amusing. Yeah, pretty much the exact same. A 30 gold difference. Okay, next flying pliers can go over here. Should be fine. Just in case, I'll put up a reveal. But, no, we looked earlier. I think it was like round 33 or something that we need to keep an eye out for. Yeah, but we definitely need to expand some of our DPS to these lower roads, because otherwise, when the bosses reach them, there's just nothing to hold them back. Looks like this is one of the minor skipping waves, so they're... Yeah, thankfully, the place where they're skipping at's saving them like one tiny corner, so not a big deal. But yeah, it's time to get a lot of extra snowblowers. Thinking maybe one here, 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 so on.
The storm is coming.
Okay, let's withdraw all.
Precisely.
I'll just upgrade these two. That should be done in time. And then we will sell this premium damage. This one's not as good though. We'll replace this. Yep, the flying pliers have a 10% chance to stun for 0.25 seconds, which means technically you could perma-stun, but you'd probably need like 30 flying pliers to have a good chance at that. So it's not too realistic. But the C4 I think has the same stun chance. So if that was the cheese strategy you were looking to do, that'd be the way to do it. Purchase a couple of damage upgrades here. For a few hundred gold, we can get 5% damage increments on all of our towers, which at the moment, since they're hitting for 16,000, basically means we're getting another powerful tower on top of that. But yeah, once you get like 2 or 3, it starts getting really expensive, so I don't recommend getting too many of these. Somewhere in the ballpark of like 10 to 20% is where you want to stop. Yeah, 333. Next one's probably 450, which we can still justify. But then once it reaches 800, we'll just be done there. Yeah, because we're getting 800 DPS. Let's just round it up. Call it 2,000 DPS per 5% upgrade, which means eventually, like 1,000 gold is already getting us 6,000 DPS. So really, it's just about the same ratio, but soon it will be worse. 2,400. So it looks like he went to 15% as well. So let's get some extra snow towers over here on the right. Oh, what? This is an invis wave? Oh. A bit. Huh. Actually, oh no, I think I called that. Ah, man. Alright. Well, big error on my part there. Just lost 170 lives. Which means no more leaks for the final boss. I was just assuming they were dying because we have so much DPS. I knew that was happening too. Yeah, that's why passive detection is better in general. Because you don't run the risk of that mistake. Yeah, 68 lives, so that means we can leak 5 bosses or so before we lose. Yeah, sometimes I just spam reveal on every wave to prevent mistakes like that, but... And then, of course, by the time I revealed, they were all in the damage-free section. Okay, do we want one more nail gun? Guess it can't hurt. Yeah, and this one's doing 15,000 DPS per hit, which means it's a complete non-issue for taking these incoming units out.
My old bones ache. Precisely. They are swoosh, amen.
Yeah, this anti-air round is going to be a piece of cake. These have... Actually, maybe not. I was assuming that we'd have surplus DPS, but in reality, it's barely enough. Well, we ended up fine anyway. But yeah, 15,000 would not have been enough to one-shot those. But it was close enough that it wasn't a problem.
Gladly. They are swoosh, amen. Gladly. Precisely. Ishnu pora. Gladly. Ishnu pora. Precisely. They are swoosh, amen. Ishnu pora.
So this is an invis wave.
Gladly.
So let's just get this going now. And then the next invis wave is the boss. And Shadow is Windwalk, which means the boss gets a little movement speed boost as well. If we ace every wave from here on out, we should have enough spare lives to be able to leak most of the bosses. And yeah, we do have a ton of DPS. My next flying pliers will go somewhere in the lower section to distribute the DPS more. Maybe down here? Yeah, I think at the moment I have like 9,000 balance, so it'll be at the end of this wave.
Gladly. Ishnu Pora. Gladly. Nea Shush. Amen. Ishnu Pora.
And there we go. Let's see. Yeah, this is good. We also could place it here if we wanted. That would get you a full... I mean, it's about the same amount of... Either way. Alright, we'll do it here. I do like front-loading DPS, just because it'll... I mean, well, sometimes it can work out better. So by the time the final boss comes on wave 40, we should have enough money to get maybe 2 more flying claws or 1 more flying pliers. We are up to, what's that, 6 flying pliers right now, which means with 1 boss there is a chance that we could get close to perma-stunning it. But yeah, 0.25 seconds is not much stun, so. If we were doing another flying claws, it would have to go... Let's see. Is there any other... Could go here, could go here. There's a couple of decent spots. You can even put it at the entrance if we wanted. Actually, that's one of the better spots. Fair amount of slow, fair amount of damage.
Our allies' town is under siege.
We're not going to actually be able to put the tower in here, though, until close to the end of the wave, just because they'll be colliding with that spot. Looks like this must be a Spell Mutant wave, just based on all the land ho. Now's the time. Let's double check, make sure we don't accidentally seal the maze off. Looks good. Yeah, so 250 range is just enough to attack the wave outside, or past 1 row of towers and a row. So basically it gives you 2 blocks worth of attack range. So from here, this unit could attack up to here if it were a flying plier, or a flying claws.
The storm is coming. My old...
Witching Hour. Okay. Well, they're missing a lot of armor, so this might not be too bad. Once again, just as a precaution, we'll get the invis detection going. And this is... we're getting pretty close to the last moment in which we'll be able to take out the final boss. Let's use Winter here. I think a lot of these units are going to leak through. Okay. 2 leaks. 3. No, 2. That's not bad. Do we have any special points left? Yeah, okay. So 73 lives means we can leak 4 bosses without losing. 5 will cost us the game.
Ishnu Pora. They are shush, amen. My old bones ache. The storm is coming.
And so you should be doing it right about now. Oh, but they are invulnerable. Alright, so they're slowed down, doing tons of damage. I didn't end up getting any extra towers built, so we are just kind of wasting a little bit of money at the moment. Also going to use Last Chance, just now's the time for the deep... Come on. Do I need to use Winter? I'll use it. Looks like he used it as well, a little bit late. Okay. So we're leaking 2, looks like, unless that one can die somehow. Okay. We're leaking 2 guaranteed. These are coming in with about half health. So I think that should do the trick. Which means we... Okay, so we successfully beat the game. Actually, it was a lot closer than I was thinking. Because those bosses did 30 lives, not 15. Yeah, distributed damage would have helped us quite a bit, because what ended up happening was, I guess the invulnerability phase got them through the front loading, and then they were able to just kill us at the end.
Precisely. Ishnu Pora. They are shush, amen.
So we'll see how we do in the bonus. Since we have 13 lives remaining, there's a pretty decent chance here that we'll probably lose within a few rounds, but we'll stick it out and see how it goes. And yeah, so the performance was pretty solid. The reason I bring this up is because this game has pretty bad performance if you play on Reforged graphics. So yeah, just make sure you have it set to classic. You don't want to have any performance problems. The last time I tried this game, and I played it on Reforged at around like level 33. Now there are of course multiple factors, but assuming it was Reforged graphics that caused a problem, at around like wave 33, my FPS tanked from 130 to 1 FPS or so it was quite bad. This time though, it's pretty much smooth the whole way through, so could have been a coincidence, but probably not. For whatever reason, we're getting that slow movement speed problem. Who knows why? Unless that... I guess it could theoretically be due to some modifier on this wave, because it doesn't happen on too many. And a lot of them, they just smoothly move through. Yeah, pretty easy first wave. Which means we will get an extra 5 lives here. These units are probably doing something like 8 lives per kill, which means, yeah, if we leak like 2 or 3, we will lose the game. Double check. So the next Invis wave is next wave. And then what else was there? Okay, how do I have a balance of 17,000? What? I thought I had a balance of 7,000. Well, I mean, if I have this much money, I'm going to spend it. I really don't know how, though. So we'll put... Yeah, we'll put this over here. Get the invis detection going. Oh, did Teal send me his money? Ah, he did. I didn't even know that was a command. So I guess you can type -give to send money. Either that or it's just a fluke that I somehow ended up with huge amounts. I don't know. The Bank of America is pretty decent. Oh, he could have moved the spies. That would have been nice. The spies are the Bank of America's invisibility detection unit, so if you move those spies over here, we wouldn't have to ever use detection again. 1 leak, let's see. I don't think we'll lose, but...
Job's done.
And 10, yeah. So, pretty damaging.
Gladly.
Okay, actually I need to use the expert trick right now. Get 2 flying pliers going at once. Sell this, your flying pliers,
Precisely.
then have the expert build it. Then we'll also sell this and get another flying pliers. Yeah, let me move this guy around, make it obvious. Okay, let's do detection as a precaution. Let's see, headquarters or plan B. 5,000 damage, 3,000 range, 2,500 gold. Compare that and it compares pretty terribly. But 3,000 range is a lot. That's game. Oh well. Now we can run away from our financial collapse and escape into the northern realms. Looks like it wasn't fast enough. But yeah, so there we go. I don't think I got any extra EXP from that, but so that is Shopping Maul U.S.A. Kind of one of the classic mall-based Warcraft 3 games for me. Not sure how many other people have really tried it though, but I'm a big fan. And if you are player red, I do recommend having one other player build with you just to maximize the DPS, because every single unit goes to you. So if your base is weak, then essentially every leaked unit is going to have an easy time getting through. And yeah, the sooner you get 5,000 gold to maximize that interest, the sooner you can get a victory snowball going. That's pretty much it for the strategy of this game. And of course I recommend Home Depot. They have really solid late game towers. But yeah, so if you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want to play some games with me, make sure you have your notifications set to all. The live streams are every Saturday, and anyone is welcome to join in the lobbies. I'll see you guys next time.